Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cavletics, an inside look into the athletics department here at Bossier Parish Community College. I'm your host, Charlie Cavell. We've got a great show for you today because we're going to be talking basketball, specifically Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier basketball with head coach Chris Lovell. Chris, welcome to the show as always. Great to have you. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us.
Excited to be here.
Well, the last time you were here, we previewed the season. Now we're into the second half of the season, pun intended, and your team is 14-9 overall, 7-6 in Region 14 play. Give me your assessment of the season so far.
Yeah, no, I think the season's gone well. I think for us, it's growing a brand new group of guys together. We have 14 new players this year. Which, you're reteaching the whole system, the whole culture, and we've been having to learn how to win tough games. And so we've come up short in a bunch of 1-point overtime games, and then we've been able to overachieve and get some of those as well. And so I think this team is still growing and maturing, and hopefully we'll peak at the right time as we get ready for conference play.
Well, you have 7 regular season games remaining, 6 of those in Region 14. In those 6 games, what does your team need to do to stay in contention for the Region 14 tournament?
Well, I mean, in all practicality, we've already qualified for the postseason tournament, which is another accomplishment for us. It's year 4 in a row, so that's a good thing for my tenure here. But I think for us, we've got to continue to guard and play defense. I think that's kind of our staple. When we guard and we defend, we always have a chance to win the game at the end. It's the nights where we don't guard and defend that it's really hard. And I think to continue to do that, the transition part of the defense, the rebounding, keeping away the middle drives, those kind of things are the things that kind of really hurt us when we don't do them. And when we do them, we're really good.
Can you talk to me about team chemistry? You started to hint at it a minute ago. You have just one returning player in point guard E.J. Clark. The rest are newcomers. How difficult is it to develop that team chemistry in such a short period of time?
Well, I think this year it's been harder because we haven't had as many returners as you mentioned. But it's an ongoing process. I don't think you ever kind of get there in 1 year or 9 months, really, with a brand new group. I think the most exciting thing about this group of guys is that we'll bring about half of them back next year. And so the situation we were in this year with all these brand new guys, we won't have it as much next year. And, like Tyler's, number 7 in the country who we played the other night, they had 12 sophomores. They're all in their second year there. That makes a big difference at this level.
Well, and that leads me to my next question. If you would expound on the whole team chemistry aspect, give our viewers just a picture of how different and difficult it is to develop that team bond and that chemistry at the junior college level, particularly, against 4-year schools.
Well, yes. I mean, the hardest thing about it is you don't even, in junior college, you can have them a potential of 2 years, but typically you only get them for 1. And if you get them for 2, you've done really, really well, or you've had to redshirt or medical redshirt some guys. At 4-year schools, you've got them for 3 or 4 years. There's a culture in place. There's a system that year 3 or 4 in the system that you just kind of know, and everybody does it. There's a way you do things. And at the junior college level, you're always reteaching that culture, that system, and you don't have any redshirt seniors to go, hey man, we don't do that here, or hey, we do it like this here, whatever the case may be. And so that's probably the most difficult part of junior college basketball. But this group right here, I like them. They're great human beings and they're great kids. I don't know that we found a certain rotation that necessarily works. We've been playing 9 or 10 guys all year, which is totally different from what we did last year when we only played 5 or 6.
On top of having just one returning player, you've had one of your best players in forward, Will LaPoole, join the team in January. Mm-hmm. So he's only played in about 10 games. How is that transition for Will gone and his relationship in meshing in with the rest of the group?
Well, the good thing about Willie is he was here in the fall, even though he wasn't eligible to play in the fall. And he's been in every practice and every team meeting on every road trip, so he's been a part of the team and the program and the family, even though he just joined us on the court in January. And he's brought a big lift to our team. He's a talented 6'9", kind of wing forward type that can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions, and can score the basketball. And that is really, really giving us a punch. Our best player, Diamante Brown, up to this point has been injured the last couple of weeks and hasn't played at all. And so if we hadn't had Willie join us, we'd probably be really struggling right now in a very, very tough conference where it's kind of really up for grabs right now.
One real quick question before we take a break. How you mentioned guarding and defending, is that different style of basketball for a Chris Level coach team from your years of high school coaching, your couple of years, 3 years here at Bipsy, now in your fourth? Is that taking Chris Level a little bit of getting used to?
No, I think you have to find your identity, with every group of guys. You always coach toward your personnel. And then some years, we always teach defense. We always teach the guarding and how important it is. But like this year, with our guys, we're just not as offensively explosive as we were last year. And so our defense becomes even more important for us this year when you're a little limited offensively to keep the score low to where you always have a chance to win. And I think that's why we've been in so many close games this year, is we've had to really guard and defend to give ourselves a chance to be there in the end.
It's that ugly kind of style of basketball.
It is.
And not a slight.
Right.
But you, as you said, adapt to your personnel. You got to do what you got to do in order to be there in the end to try to win a ball game.
Yeah, and I think good coaches adapt to their personnel. You can't just do the same thing every year. You can have a system that you go into it with, but once you have 14 new guys, you have to adapt to the 14 you have. If I'd had them for 2 or 3 years or 8 of them returning, then we might be able to stay with the same system, just go recruit 4 new guys and move on, but we're just not in that situation. So it's been a journey.
We're going to take a brief time out right now, but don't go anywhere because following the break, we'll have more with Bipsy head Cavalier basketball coach Chris Level. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.
We're here in the South Bronx at Children's Health Fund's very first program site, and we're here to celebrate this new partnership and to have a look at the services being provided. Our mission is really very simple. We want to ensure the highest quality healthcare reaches children living in poverty. Access to healthcare is what we do, and we go the extra mile to make sure it happens. And going the extra mile means that we bring our mobile clinics right to where kids live, where they learn, where they play, and we do that in a very community integrated and oriented way.
This is actually a room where the patients are screened by the providers. You could talk to the doctor about various conditions or what it is exactly that you need, just like you would do at your regular physical. The doctor can order certain blood tests to be done from here. They can order certain screenings. They can order referrals for the patient to see specialists if they needed to. They can also order nutrition, mental health, whatever it is that the patient needs, just like at a regular physician's office.
We do more than just medical care. So when we talk about comprehensive services, we obviously have providers, nurse practitioners, and doctors doing basic primary care, but so often a patient comes in complaining about one issue, and then we find out there's so many other issues. So we really see ourselves as kind of a one-stop shopping to really help this family succeed.
Innovation at Children's Health Fund started from day one. We were the pioneers of the medical home house call, and this partnership with Henry Schein is going to continue that innovation. Together, creative problem solving, getting to places where we couldn't go alone, getting there together, and making sure kids have access to high quality care that they need. That's really where we're going together.
Henry Schein is really helping help happen by delivering products and services and solutions that providers need throughout the U.S. every single day. Children's Health Fund and their IDN affiliates are helping help happen by delivering care to the most needy of population. So we're both delivering. One's delivering products and the other one's delivering care.
To see the partnership come together, the strategies that we've worked on over the last year, culminate to this morning, and getting a chance to walk on the mobile clinic and get a tour of it and find out that it actually has some of the services that a primary care physician's office has. And so to know that that level of care is going to go to the underserved and specifically in this area to children in need, is just a fantastic time for both organizations.
When I look to the future, I see a future together with Henry Schein and Children's Health Fund. We took a while to get to this point. We've worked together, we've ideated together, we've created together. And from this foundation, the future is very bright. I can see us reaching more kids with more services in more places, not only over the next 4 years, but maybe the next 40.
Welcome back to Cavletics. I'm Charlie Cavell, and we're visiting with Cavaliers head men's basketball coach Chris Lovell. And Chris, before the break, we had talked about the difficulties in building team chemistry, but what we haven't talked about is attrition. This year's team has suffered some setbacks along the way. You were expecting to have guys like Abraham Mukamator and Isaiah Sulak and others on this team, but both have been sidelined for the year due to injury. Talk about the loss of some of the players that I just mentioned, as well as, unfortunately, recently, you had mentioned earlier, Bam Brown has been out.
Yeah, I think every season is so different, and everyone deals with injuries. Everyone deals with unfortunate things that take place in the heat of competition, whether that be in practice or in a game. And this year's been our year. I've never experienced a year with this many guys with injuries where, we've had to medically redshirt, 2 guys that we thought were going to be 2 of our top players. Our best player's banged up right now, and we'll get him back hopefully in the next week or 2. But, it's a great opportunity for the other guys, and we recruited a very deep roster. And the reason you have to recruit a deep roster is for when things like this come up. And we've been able to overcome it. You always sit back and think, well, how good could we have been if so-and-so's playing or whatever? But you can't do that. You got to roll with who you have and give them the opportunity to go out there and help the team win, and that's why they're here.
Yeah, because the other team's not going to sit there.
No, nobody's feeling bad for you, I promise you, yeah.
Well, recently, as I alluded to, that attrition factor hit your club really hard when leading scorer and your go-to guy in forward Diamante Bam Brown went down with a few injuries. Losing Bam has had a profound impact and effect on the success, particularly recently since he's been out on this team, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, we're a grinded out team anyway, and he's kind of our post presence inside, the one guy that's real physical that we can throw to and kind of. He gets to the free throw line. He makes tough shots. He's able to power through people, and he's an unbelievable athlete, And
yeah,
so
he can jump out of the gym.
He can. He's really got some of what I call the special stuff. And so, when you lose a guy like that, at 17 points a game, it's hard to replace. But our guys have done the best they can, and we've hung in there. We've won some games without them. But for us to be real effective down the stretch in the tournament, we got to have everyone that's healthy on our active roster to contribute and play, and that's going to be the key moving forward.
Well, and Bam's that guy that we talked about. He's that grinder.
He is.
I mean, he's that guy. He's not your typical 4 or 5 as far as height goes, but he's a guy that's going to go in there and just physically be in the mix and grind things out and get his points and get his rebounds.
Yes, and you have to replace that. And
right.
That's why Willie LaPoole has been so important to our team joining us. He's been picking up the slack there, but also I think some of the other guys that are worth mentioning who have stepped up. Gregg has really stepped up and played well here of late, a guard that we took from McLennan Junior College, and we took him because he's been through the fire a little bit, and he's like this game we have Saturday at Paris. He's the one that won the game for us. He hit some big shots, and then Paul King has kind of emerged the last 4 games. And so, it's fun to see these guys step up as they have opportunities when another guy, unfortunately, has some issues.
Well, speaking of Gregg, one guy who I don't want to say has been a surprise, but he has certainly given your team some leadership by his play on the court is redshirt sophomore guard Aaron Gregg, who came to Bipsy from McLennan Community College. So he's been through the grind of a junior college season at a good program, and for the most part, he's played like a returner.
He has, and the reason we took him is because he started every game as a true freshman at McLennan. He's a little bit older guy at the JUCO level, which, the hardest thing to find at this level, I talk about this all the time, is leadership. And the one thing Aaron brings to our team is he's a great leader on the court. He gets everybody in the right spot before we start the offense. He makes sure, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And he's been more valuable off the court than he's been on the court on some days. But now his play is picking up to where now he's as good as anyone we have and has become one of our most valuable pieces.
Another player who's come on strong as of late is freshman guard Paul King out of Ouachita Parish High School in Monroe. Paul has given you a lot of quality minutes, hasn't he?
He has. You never know with a true freshman. He was one of the only true freshmen we signed last year in our recruiting class. It's hard to win with freshmen in our league, but Paul is kind of one of those tough kids. And he really guards and plays defense. And when he's able to really sit down and guard and get turnovers from the other team, get steals, and get layups, it really provides a lot of energy for our team.
Two guys that have started the bulk of games as sophomore guard Alan Hatchett Jr. and forward Alan Lang. Talk to me about what they've brought to the table this season.
They're both glue guys. They're both Division I transfers, with Alan Lane coming from Weber State and then Alan Hatchett coming from South Carolina State. But they, have playing experience, and so that helps. They do the intangibles. They're both incredibly great defenders, really good rebounders, and so they are what I call the glue to our defense and to our team, and they've been scoring it well as well in the recent games, and so we're excited, thankful for those two guys. I would hate to think about playing a game without them. I can promise you that.
Charlie Cochran and Josh Davis are guys I know you were expecting to be your three-point threats, but so far this season they and the team have struggled from long range. What effect has that on your ball club, the lack of a consistent three-point shooter done?
Well, three-point shooting is as much mental as it is physical. And these guys are putting in the time in the gym, they're repping, they're working through it, but it's a mental thing more than anything. And I think, hopefully Charlie and Josh catch fire down the stretch here for us. But, when you're able to hit threes from outside, it stretches the defense. If you're unable to hit threes, it shrinks the defense on your inside play. And that's where we've been really strong so far, is getting the ball inside, driving to the rim. And so as the defense shrinks, you have to hit some outside shots. And so that's why Charlie and Josh are so important to our team, because they are specialists, and they really do shoot the ball incredibly well, even though it hasn't translated yet to this point consistently.
Well, in addition to developing that consistent three-point threat, is there other areas that need to be fixed as your team heads down the final stretch of games before the tournament?
Well, I think our outside shooting has to improve. I think that's the biggest area. We're getting so many shots up right now, and really honestly, it has nothing to do with our offense or defense. It just has to do with hitting shots. If you look at the last really 10 games since right before the break. We lost at Collin County by 1. We lost to Blinn in overtime. We lost to, every game has been so close, and then we turn around and beat number 20 in the country, Kilgore, by 1. And so, every game has been 1 or 2 points, overtime, not overtime,
Right.
And so we're right there. And I just think if we're able to hit a couple more shots that we're not making right now, it propels us, and we really can beat anyone in the conference.
BIPSI is once again hosting the Region 14 men's and women's basketball tournament March 3rd through the 7th at the Centenary College Gold Dome. If you will, Chris, explain to us just again how big a deal this is, not just for Bossier Parish Community College, but for both the men's and women's basketball programs here.
Well, I think in the past, if Bossier Parish Community College in our cities, Shreveport and Bossier City, speaking about kind of our cities, had put in a bid because we were not competing and doing well in conference play, we wouldn't have received it. And I think when you receive an opportunity to host a tournament like this, it's a sign of respect from the other schools in the conference. Of those guys are competing now. They're tough to play. And y'all sit in a great city and have great facilities. And so it's a great thing to bring the toughest junior college conference in the country to Shreveport-Bossier, to be in the Gold Dome, which is a great facility, and to allow the people in this area to see the quality of basketball. And so it probably wins us more fans in the stands next year, as people come and get introduced to junior college basketball. But it's a great honor to host it. It's a tough tournament. We're looking forward to it and can't wait to compete.
Well, you've been a part of championship teams at the high school level and at other levels. What does this team need to do or develop quickly in order to make a run at that Region 14 tournament title?
Well, I think it's all about, we've got 6 conference games left and we have 1 non-conference game left. And so we need to win 3 of the next 6. And that's going to put us right at, I think, 10 wins in conference. It's going to give us a really good first-round seed. I think it's all about winning the first game in the conference tournament. If you can win the first game, then you can kind of get your confidence and get on a roll. But that first game's key. And so the better seed we get, the better opportunity we have to win that first game and kind of get going. The lower seed we get, the tougher it is right out of the box. And our conference is tough enough as it is without having to play the number 1 or 2 seed right out of the box. So we got a great opportunity here Saturday to get one, and that's tomorrow, and try to get that one tomorrow, and then go try to steal one next week, and then get another one before we finish it out. And I think we'll be right where we want to be.
Well, speaking of tomorrow, you can see Coach Lovell and the Cavaliers in the Coach Billy Montgomery gym tomorrow when they play host to the Parish Junior College Dragons. The Lady Cavs play at 2 p.m., followed by the men at 4 p.m. It's also homecoming here at Bipsy, so make plans to be there tomorrow for all of the festivities, plus a little good basketball. And as always, for more information on the Cavaliers and Lady Cavaliers, you can do so by visiting BipsyAthletics.com. Chris, any final thoughts? Maybe give us a real quick preview of tomorrow's game.
Yeah, no, tomorrow will be a great game. If you're in the area and you're wanting to get out and see some basketball, come on out to the gym tomorrow. We're really excited about the game, and I think it's a great opportunity for both our programs, the women's and men's, to get some wins tomorrow and to continue to excel in the conference.
Well, Chris, thanks for taking the time to visit with us today. Absolutely. We always enjoy having you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today for this episode of Cavletics. Join us again next Friday as we bring you the latest on Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier Athletics. I'm Charlie Cavell, bidding you a good sports day.